Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching On My Books Me. Today I'm bringing you my March book haul, and I did get quite a few books in the month of March, but that's okay. It's okay. So let's just dive right in. So the first book is The Colour of B. Larkham's Murder by Sarah J. Harris. This is the ARC copy. And I actually won this through a Goodreads giveaway. I've been entering Goodreads giveaways on and off pretty much since I got Goodreads, or at least since I got more involved with the book community. And I finally won one, which is really exciting. This book doesn't come out until May. So I still have time to get around to reading it, but it sounds really interesting. 13-year-old Jasper is not an ordinary boy. In fact, he would say he is an extraordinary boy. Synthesia paints his world in a kaleidoscope of colours that no one else can see, but on Friday night he discovered a new colour, the colour of murder. Sounds really interesting, and I have heard pretty good things about this so far from people who have been able to read advanced copies, so hopefully I'm going to get around to it during the month of April, hopefully. At least I want to try and get it read maybe by the time it comes out, or maybe save it till it comes out. I don't know, but hopefully I get to it soon. But it sounds really good, and this ARC cover looks so pretty. Then I got Obsidian by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, the third and final book in the Illuminate files. Look how beautiful and shiny this book is. I've not yet read Gemina. I started reading it back when it came out, but then I didn't get around to finishing it. And I thought I'd leave it to when Obsidian comes out so I could read them back to back. So now I have this. I'm definitely going to pick up Gemina and fly through both of these books. If you don't know, this is an amazing series that is told entirely as a case file. There is no traditional prose in this. There is chat logs and chat transcripts and video descriptions and like letters and sticky notes and all sorts of things. And you know what, so this book, awesome enough in itself. What makes this book more awesome is that it is signed Booktopia, as they have with the previous two books, have had a signed pre-order promotion. I will link to the Booktopia link below if there are still signed copies available. I'm pretty sure there is. They're usually available for a while. But yeah, if you're in Australia and you want a signed copy and you haven't got the book yet, check the description. If there is a link to Booktopia, click on it. What makes this book also amazing is that when I find the page, I freaking died. So you probably didn't see that. As always, there was a pre-order competition to get your name on the dead list. I did that. So I pre-ordered this book April last year, I think it was. Earliest I've ever pre-ordered a book, and I didn't really hear anything back. There was a separate competition running as well that some people got to win signed copies of the Illuminate audiobook, and I never sort of heard anything, kind of forgot about it, kind of didn't think anything eventuated from me dying in this book. But I picked up, when this book arrived, I gave it a bit of a flip through just to see what sort of different pages they had, and I was like, oh, I wonder if there's anyone I know on the dead list. I do know one person who I'm actually located on near the dead list is Jean. She's from Happy Indulgence, and so she tweeted about it about a week before I received the book that she had been found out she was on the dead list. So I was going to go to the death list and see if I could find her name and anyone else I may have known, and bam, I saw my name. So I have officially died in Obsidian, which is amazing. I can't wait to read this book. Let me know if you've read it, what your thoughts are on it so far. And yeah, I've heard amazing things about this book. Everyone says it is amazing, so I cannot wait to read it. Then this month I went to my local secondhand bookshop. I dropped off about 3 boxes of books to trade in, so I got store credit. I got quite a bit of store credit, so I decided to spend a little bit of it during the month. So the first book I picked up was The Horses Didn't Come Home by Pamela Rushby. This is a book that I've been eyeing off for the longest time. Every Anzac Day I'm like, I need to get this book, and I saw it and I had to get it. And I know I'm going to probably bawl my eyes out in this book because it is so moving. So I'll just read you the blurb and then I'll explain more. In an army camp in the Middle Eastern desert, a young Australian soldier named Harry is saddling and grooming his horse Bunty. She is sturdy and strong, an Australian waller who belongs to Harry's sister Laura back home in Australia. As Harry finishes the grooming, he stands in front of Bunty. The two of them, horse and master, are totally still. Then Harry swings up onto the saddle and turns away from the camp into the desert. A few soldiers watch them as they ride out. No one says a word. It's their last ride together. The last great cavalry charge in history took place at Bathsheba in the Sinai Desert in 1917. It was Australian soldiers and horses that took part in and won this amazing, unexpected, unorthodox victory. The men proudly claimed it was their great-hearted horses that won the day, but in the end, the horses didn't come home. So a couple of Anzac days ago, I watched this documentary called The Waller, or the Australian Waller or something. It was about the horses that took part in the Battle of Bathsheba. And it ends so sad, and every time I see it, I'm pretty sure it's on every single Anzac Day, I cry, because the horses were either set free just to roam the desert, or the soldiers had to put them down. Because horses, even today, horses don't really travel that well, and back then, so many horses were already lost on the boat, already like died and had to be put down on the boat on the way over. So after the war, it was going to be too difficult to take them home. Horses don't travel really well at all. And so these soldiers who had been by these horses' sides, who, like, their horses were essentially their best friend, couldn't come home with their horses and either had to set them free. A lot didn't want to do that. A lot did actually put them down, and it's like the documentary ends so sad, and I do shed some tears, and I wanted to read this book. It's probably stupid that I want to read this book because I feel like it's going to be a bit of an emotional read, but I think it's also going to be an important read. The Battle of Bathsheba is an important part of Australian military history, and I'm going to be reading it this Anzac Day. On a lighter note, I then picked up the first 3 books in the Vampire Diaries series. So that is The Awakening, The Struggle, and The Fury, all by L.J. Smith. These are part of the original 4 Vampire Diaries series, so I just need to hunt down the other one. Ever since I started watching the Vampire Diaries back in, I think it was December, I was like, oh, I kind of really want to read the books, and so I found them and I was like, I have to read the books. I have already started reading the Vampire Diaries. I have already started reading The Awakening. I downloaded the free sample on iBooks just to see what the writing style was like and whether it was actually something I wanted to read. So I'm excited to now have these first 3 books and to read them. I know they are different from the TV series, but I'm still excited because I like the Vampire Diaries and I do want to read the books and just kind of, again, like with Pretty Little Liars, it's a similar story but different, so you kind of get 2 stories for the price of 1. I feel like the Vampire Diaries is going to be the same. And one of my best friends is really excited that I have the books, so hopefully I will start reading these soon. I then also picked up Ghost House by Alexandra Adornetto. I have the first book in her Halo series, which I've not read, but I have heard pretty good things about it. But I do really just like anything that is to do with ghosts and mysteries and haunting things. This sounds quite interesting. I have heard some pretty good things about this book as well. After the death of her mother, Chloe Kennedy starts seeing ghosts again. Spending time at her grandmother's country estate in the south of England helps Chloe deal with her grief and the spirits that haunt her until she meets a mysterious stranger. Alexander Reed is 157 years dead, with a secret past and an alluring force that draws Chloe more strongly than any ghost she's encountered before. But the bond between them infuriates the vengeful spirit of Alexander's past love, Isabel, and she will stop at nothing to destroy anyone who threatens to take him from her. To stop Isabel, Chloe must draw on untied strength, even if it means losing Alex forever. So sounds really good, and I'm all for paranormal romance. Hopefully it's going to be a really good read. I'm back at university this month, and one of my units is about archaeology, so I needed to get a textbook, and so it is Archaeology, Theories, Methods and Practices by Colin Renfrew and Paul Barn. What I've already used of this textbook has been really good. It's like 600 pages long. It is freaking heavy, and it's got so much information. I really like archaeology. I find it so fascinating, and I think it's a really important branch of historic research. So I'm keen for this, for the unit I'm doing this semester, and this textbook is really good so far. When I was on Book Depository and I was ordering the textbook, I had to pick up Shadow House Book 1, The Gathering by Dan Pawlowski. I've had this book on my wish list for the longest time, and I finally was like, I'm gonna get it, and it's actually so good. And I've actually already started reading it. I started reading it the moment it arrived. Shadow House is calling you. Some houses are more than just haunted. They're hungry. Dash, Dylan, Poppy, Marcus, and Azumi don't know this at first. They each think they've been summoned to Shadow House for innocent reasons. But there's nothing innocent about Shadow House. Something within its walls is wickedly wrong. Nothing, and nobody can be trusted. Hallways move, doors vanish, ghosts appear, children disappear, and the way out, that's disappeared too. This is a middle grade book, but it's really good so far, and actually, has an app attached to it where you, when you're going through the book, there's photos throughout the book. Where's a good one? There's, you know, pictures like this throughout the book, and there are, where are they? These little sigils, I think that's how you say it. And you put them into the app and you get like extra story content, like backstory stuff. So far, so good. Really enjoying this book, and hopefully I'll have it finished by the end of the month and be able to talk about it in my wrap up, but so good. Finally, the last book I got this month was kindly sent to me from Pam McMillan Australia, and that is As She Fades by Abby Glines. This is, I think it's a standalone. Yeah, it's a standalone. It comes out in the US and probably the UK on the 3rd of April, but it's coming out here in Australia on the 10th. I've been excited for this book for the longest time. Abby, I think, announced it probably like a year ago, maybe even over a year ago. And I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for it to come out, and it's finally here. It sounds like it's going to be really good, and it sort of sounds like it's going to be slightly different from what Abby's done in the past. Very similar, like obviously still on trend with her storytelling, but I don't know, just the blurb sounds a little bit different to what I'm kind of used to with Abby's books. But anyway, first there was an accident. What happened next changed everything. Our favourite song came on the radio and Crawford turned it up and began to sing along with his off-key voice. He was a terrible singer, but he knew it made me laugh, so he did it often. Joy swelled up in me for the life I had, so strong it was hard to contain it. I began to laugh as he hit another bad note. This was my life and I loved it. It was then that Crawford slammed on the brakes and the world began spinning. The smell of burning rubber and the violent screeching of wheels took away all my thoughts. Dreams vanished in that instant, completely. So they are all the books I got during the month of March. Please let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these, what your thoughts are on them, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!